Good morning. Welcome to Morning Yoga. My name is Megan Hively. So it's Wednesday, it's midweek. So we do a little stretch reset, a little regroup for the midweek. We do have the first quarter moon coming tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow afternoon around 4. And remember, we talked about this last month with the first quarter moon being like springtime. So kind of a reawakening. So it's kind of a good time, I feel, to get a nice stretch. So we are going to start in just a moment in child's pose. I do recommend grabbing blocks if you have them, or a block replacement, which could be some sturdy books. I've used mason jars recently, which worked pretty well. I've heard people have used soup cans. So it's really just something, they're going to stay on the floor and just going to give you a little bit of height to put your hands on. It's not required, but not a bad thing to have. So starting in child's pose for our practice, we can always put a blanket underneath our knees too here. That can feel nice. The toes together, knees wide. And arms really is where it's comfortable. So as we lower our upper body toward the ground, you could place a block or a blanket underneath the head here, or you could let your forehead touch the ground. And if it's comfortable, arms extend toward the top of the mat. They could come a little wider in a V if that's more comfortable in the shoulders. They can also be by your side. Once you find your child's pose shape, maybe let your eyes close and turning awareness inward. And however that is for you this morning, that could be following your breath. You could dip into a sensation in your body. Maybe you have a mantra that you like to work with. You could bring that to mind here. Just taking some time to center. To settle in to the shape of child's pose and settle onto your mat. Being present in this time. And then if this resonates for you, take a moment to think about calling all of your energy to you. So sometimes we leave these little energy connections to people, to situations. And this morning, you don't even really have to know what they are. But just trust that connection, everything has worked out perfectly, and that you can bring your energy back to you. You can sense that however that is for you this morning. Just a couple more breaths. You might even think about yourself as completely whole now. And then when you're ready, begin to walk your hands over to the right side of your mat. So I like to lift my upper body a bit and walk hands over. They might come off the mat and maybe lower the upper body from there. Feeling a stretch through your left side. You might think about left hip sitting back, left fingertips reaching long and over toward the right. Your gaze is where it's comfortable. I'm keeping mine toward the ground, but you could always look underneath one arm or the other. And then we'll switch sides. So again, I like to lift the upper body and walk my hands back through center and then over to the left. The hands may come off the mat, they may not. And then lower in the upper body when you find the space or the right place for your hands. And thinking about right hip in line with the left as right fingertips reach long and over to the left. Feeling a stretch in your right side. Then when you're ready, we'll bring body back to center. So lifting upper body a bit, bringing yourself back to center, lowering back down into your child's pose. So having your yogi ears on here, leave fingertips connected to the mat and lift the palms of your hands up off the mat, creating little creepy crawly fingers. I've heard this referred to also as putting a cupcake underneath the hands, just creating little tents with the hands and fingertips connected to your mat. You might feel a little more opening through the shoulders. And then lowering palms to the mat and coming up into your tabletop. I like to roll this up a bit and taking a moment to settle into your tabletop with wrists underneath of shoulders and knees underneath of hips. And then once you find a nice sturdy tabletop, we begin our cat-cows. On the inhale, drop your belly, look up and forward. Exhale, press into your hands and round. So here we're connecting movement and breath. Spinal flexion and extension. The inhale drops you into cow. Exhale presses you into cat. So your breath, your time, it's going to be different than mine, and that's amazing. And let's do 2 more of these cat-cows. Inhale, drop the belly. And exhale, round. And 1 more, inhale, drop the belly, look up. And exhale, round. Here's a little freestyle time for you. So once you find your neutral tabletop, allow your body to move in a way that feels good to you this morning. That could be sitting into the hips. Some little half circles there. I like to bend into the elbows and kind of let the shoulders drop one at a time. These could be barrel rolls with your body. Just playing around with some movement. This is where we could come into the thought of how it's springtime and maybe how growth happens in nature. Things kind of just move how they want as they grow. Kind of finding some shapes that feel really nice. A couple more breaths. So if you've done something on one side, you need to even it out, do that here. And once you're even, we'll meet in our neutral tabletop. Go ahead and tuck your toes here. Begin to lift your hips gently into a downward facing dog. So this is our upside down V. And then from this shape, maybe you start to pedal the heels. That's bending one knee at a time and pressing the opposite heel into the mat. Feel this opening along your back body. And then if there's any other movements you want to do here, please do them. I like to say that just because you go somewhere doesn't mean you need to stay there. So if you want to try something out and you get there and it doesn't feel right, then get out. 1 more breath. And gently walk our feet to our hands from here. So nice and slow, whatever bend in the knees that you want to take, please take it. And we're meeting in a forward fold. So with forward fold, maybe your hands stay connected to the earth. This is a great place if you have your blocks or block replacements. Put your hands there. Maybe you let your head fall. Knees, again, can be bent as much as you want. We can move here a little, sway side to side, or we stay still. And then 1 more breath in this shape. And then if they're not there already, bringing your blocks in or your block replacements for your hand and start to straighten through the right leg as we leave left hand connected to the block and twist open to the right with right fingertips extending toward the ceiling. You might feel the right hips sitting back here. And then maybe you find a couple of circles of the right wrist. I think that feels nice. Maybe a little wiggle of the fingers. I think that always feels nice. And switching sides, we'll lower right hand to our block or block replacement, bending right knee, Start to straighten your left leg and left fingertips reach up toward the ceiling. Again, same option to circle through the left wrist. Maybe a little wiggle of left fingers. Feel a stretch through maybe your IT band on the left. One more breath. Both hands coming down. Walking your hands up your legs. We're coming to standing. So knees are bent to start and start to roll through your spine. One vertebrae at a time until we come to standing. Maybe you open your palms up toward the front of the room. Feel shoulder blades down your back. This is our mountain pose. Feel nice and strong. From here, inhale, arms above your head, touch your fingertips. Exhale, bend your knees and fold forward. Touch the floor or your props, your blocks. Inhale, we lengthen, straighten legs and touch your legs somewhere. Exhale, fold, touch your props. Inhale, arms above your head, fingertips touch. And exhale, hands to heart center. This is a half sun A. 2 more. Inhaling, arms up, long side body. Exhale, bend your knees, fold, touch your blocks. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold. Ground down through heels. Inhale, arms above your head. And exhale, heart center, our last one. Inhaling, arms up. Maybe a slight back bend here. Exhale, fold, touch the floor or your blocks. Inhale, lengthen, straighten legs. This time we're gonna fold and hold. It's a great place for hands on your props or your blocks. And we're gonna lunge the right leg back from here. So coming into the lunge, maybe you move your props so they're right on either side of the left foot. We have this option of keeping the back knee lifted or maybe it lowers. What I like about the props here is it keeps the chest lifted and you have a lot of space to breathe. If your knee is down, go ahead and untuck your toes. And so if you kept your knee lifted, go ahead and lower it here. We're going to sit back into what we call a split prep. So we start to shift weight back so that right hip is over the right knee. I'm bringing my props blocks back with me. And then from here, extend through the left heel, starting to straighten the left leg. And if you're like me, hamstrings and calves are kind of tight. There can be a bend in the left knee. Even if there is a bend in the knee, think about the extension through the left heel. Good morning, hamstring. So if this feels okay on the standing knee, this is going to be our right knee. We're going to move with these shapes, coming into the lunge and sitting back. If it bothers the knee, stay here or in the lunge. If you're moving on an inhale, come forward into the lunge, bring your blocks. Exhale, sit back into the split prep, bring your blocks. So 2 more of these. Inhale forward, bend the knee, lift the chest. And exhale, sit back. And 1 more inhale forward, lift the chest. Exhale, sit back and hold. So we're right here in the split prep, this stretch for the left leg. So right hand is on our prop block, We twist to the left. So left hand could come to the left hip or maybe left fingertips extend tall. Maybe you're feeling this a little more in the IT band. That is very chatty this morning. So sensation is okay, pain is not. Any sort of pain, just release the stretch. We have 1 more breath. Nice. From here, both hands come down. We come back into the lunge. So bend the front knee, bring your blocks with you. From here, our back foot, so our right foot is going to turn toward the left. So we create this little shelf with our bottom leg. This is coming into a modified side angle. Now we bring our left arm on the inside of the left knee. Option for the hand on the block. Right fingertips maybe reaching up. So our hips here are leaning toward the front of the room. We can use this front elbow with a little bend to open the front knee. Maybe you extend through the right fingertips, a little wiggle. And 1 more breath. So we'll make our way out of this shape, bringing hands on either side of the front foot on our props. Our right toes head to the back of the mat. We tuck them from here and step back into our forward fold. So it could be a couple of steps or one big lunge forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold and hold the shape. This forward fold with hands on your props or not. Option here to bind your forward fold with your 2 hook fingers. That's your pointer and middle finger. They could grab on the inside of the toes. And maybe you give a little bend to the elbows out to the side or pull the elbows toward the knees. Knees can be bent. One more breath. If you have that bind to the toes, go ahead and release them here. Hands back on our props, on our blocks or block replacements, and then it's the left knee that lunges back. So find your lunge shape on this side. You could, again, continue to keep the knee lifted for a few moments. Maybe it feels better to go ahead and lower. If you're lowered, maybe you untuck the toes. Still think about this length through the crown of the head, even though we're here in this lunge shape. A little more focus on the legs. Still keep the spine in mind. And so if you haven't already lowered the knee, this is where you would lower it down. To join us in a split prep. Begin to shift your weight back. Again, we bring our blocks with us. Left hip over the left knee. And once we're stable there, begin to extend your right heel forward. So again, a bend in the knee if you want, and this length through the heel. And good morning, back of the leg. Woo. So again, sensation, maybe good. Pain is not. Breathing into sensation. And so once again, if it feels okay on the standing knee, we're going to move. If it doesn't, then stay in one shape or the other. If you're moving with me, we're going to inhale forward, coming into the lunge, lifting the chest. Exhale, sit back into the split prep. And 2 more. Inhale forward, lift the chest. And exhale, sit back. And 1 more. Inhale forward, lift the chest. And sit back, and we're going to hold this once again. And here's where we find our twists. Left hand stays on our left prop. Right fingertips either come to the right hip or extend up. Good morning, IT band on the right. I like to wiggle my top fingers. Just 1 more breath. How about 1 more from here? That was 2 breaths. Hands come down. Coming back into the lunge, bend your front knee, bring your blocks with you. Our back foot or left foot now lifting and coming toward the right to create the shelf. And the right hand is coming on the inside of the right knee. So again, our hips shift or think about lengthening toward the front of the mat. Right elbow on the inside of right knee, maybe left fingertips extend up. And again, that option to bend a little through the right elbow. As hips lean forward, finding some space through the right hip. 2 more breaths. Maybe a little wiggle of the top fingers. And when you're ready, both hands come down. They're on either side of the front foot. Our back toes, left toes, head to the back of your mat and they tuck. And we step into our forward fold. When you're ready, inhale, lengthen through the spine, touch your legs. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms above your head. And from here, we're going to bring hands to the sacrum on the exhale. So fingertips point down. There's a roll of the shoulder blades down the back. Elbows squeeze in, a little bend in the knees to shift the hips forward. And you might think about lifting your chest and lifting your chin, feeling an opening through the front of your chest. Continue to squeeze elbows towards each other. Continue to feel this lift of your breastbone. 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, just releasing hands by your side and maybe finding a little shake. Just let it all go. Take a couple of deep breaths. And when you're ready, bring hands together and bringing thumbs to your heart space. Taking a moment to visualize the end of your day today. How do you want to feel right as you're getting into bed? Do you want to feel like it was a productive day, a loving day? Whatever you choose is perfect. But setting that intention here for how you want to feel at the end of your day. And then take a moment of gratitude. And I thank you guys so much. So Friday is a little special. We're going to start with some eye stretches. If you haven't tried them before, they can be really great to release some of the tension, especially if you're looking more at your phone or more at your computer nowadays, little helping with it a little bit with that eye strain. So hope to see you then. Have a great day. Namaste.